Hello everyone, today we're looking at Scorn. This was a really interesting game, I guess, because there was kind of a lot of weird hype up around it. You know, is this total action adventure simulator based around Geiger's, visions and work. Unfortunately, I guess I don't want to say unfortunately, but it's a little bit more of a walking simulator. There are puzzles, there is combat actually. You have different kinds of guns you can get, but for definitely the first half of it, it definitely feels like a walking simulator, where you're kind of going through these strange alien environments, and you're just kind of navigating through these very interesting structures and things like that. And so you wake up as this kind of weird humanoid creature, and you have no idea what's going on. There's no dialogue. And so essentially it brings you through a series of puzzles, environments, and it kind of tries to tell a story, kind of. In the first area, you basically are in this giant kind of factory, and there are these creatures essentially that you need to scoop it out of this egg essentially, and use this weird contraption. There's kind of this emphasis on this marriage between a biological flesh and technology, and the fact that a lot of these instruments that are high technology are actually made out of flesh and metal, and kind of a weird combination of the two. And so when you find a weapon or you find a terminal, you actually put your hand inside of it. And the way you interact with a lot of technology, you have to put different kinds of attributes and items onto your hand or person. Also throughout the game, there is kind of this parasite that is living inside you that is slowly kind of taking you over, and eventually you rip it out outside of you, and basically you have to fight it itself. But yeah, there's also some really cool weapons. There's a pistol that is kind of like a pump machine that's very weird. Also, some of the collision in this game is very poorly done, so you can hide around corners and the enemy can't hit you, but you can hit them and stuff like that. There's a shotgun, there's a little rifle. So yeah, this game does go in a weird direction, and overall it's just a weird vibe for a game in general, which is what they were going for in general. I'll be honest though, one of the first puzzles really hardly filtered me, where you have this giant puzzle on the wall, and you have all these sliding egg cartridges essentially, and you have this giant claw, and so you're supposed to line it up in a certain way to get one of the to scoop out one of the eggs essentially. And for the most part, it was very clear in the first half of the puzzle which ones you're supposed to scoop. But the second part, I had to look up. I literally spent hours on it, but I had to look up a guide, and it turns out that the egg you're supposed to scoop does not look like any of the other eggs, and to me, it didn't look scoopable at all. And so I wasted a ton of time messing around with it until I just gave up. There's also other cool things where, again, you have to take NPCs and basically make them put their hands in certain things to open doors for you and whatever. And it's kind of like these weird creatures that are not entirely sentient, but they are alive, definitely. That allows them to activate certain things in the environment. Later on in the game, the kind of final area of the game, they have these statues that are kind of extremely phallic in nature. And so it kind of tells a little bit of a story that there's some kind of struggle with reproduction, that, they've become this highly advanced race, but at the same time, they've lost the ability to reproduce naturally or something. And so they have this technology and this shrine essentially dedicated to trying to create new life or new versions of themselves. And so it's kind of, and that's kind of the issue of the game, is that, there's nothing, everything's just abstract, it's nice, it's interesting, but they're not very direct on what the actual story is, if there even is one, and I think that's fine for a game like this. But what does really rub me the wrong way is that the way the game ends is actually on a total cliffhanger. You're kind of about to go through this final portal after solving this huge puzzle and having a boss fight. It's a pretty satisfying boss fight that involves grenades, actually, a kind of a three hit kind of tier fight. That again is very cool. All the things in this game, the designs are super cool, but once you defeat that boss, you're kind of going towards this portal, and then suddenly Scorn guy, or whatever the heck you want to call him, gets taken over by the parasite and kind of perishes just before he can go through. And for me, that always, like, I don't know, that just felt like such a, it felt like I only played half the game, and it was kind of unfinished, and it was this thing that was kind of like said was working on for a while. So I felt a little bit disappointed that it kind of ended extremely anticlimactically, and it also felt like it should have been half the playtime. Like, I felt like at that point we were just getting started with like new mechanics and different kinds of things, and that the walking simulator portion of the game was kind of over. And yeah, no, and then it just ends, and I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, on the whole, it's a pretty interesting experience. It only lasts, again, like a few hours, but they are pretty memorable. The technology, the things inside, you know, the spaceship and how everything looks, they all look really, really cool and really nifty. So I guess on that point, I guess it has, you know, it definitely has some redeeming qualities. And the puzzles also, besides that one egg one at the beginning, are pretty decent as well. Anyway, guys, not much else to say about this one. It's a weird little gem, and I guess I'd give it a try, especially if you're in the horror slash sci-fi, you know, gross kind of mood. Yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.